Welcome to Unpopular Opinions, where I actually think Batman and Robin is watchable. My name's Chris.
My name's Ronnie, and how dare you say that in my presence?
No, look, okay.
No, the movie is hot street trash.
I know.
On a stick.
I know, but here's the thing. I grew up watching Adam West Batman.
So did I, and I still have taste.
Okay, hold on. Bear with me. I never took that movie seriously. I always saw it as like the lighthearted of the Batmans, and it's like,
okay, the lighthearted of the Batmans was Adam West. We didn't need another one, and it's.
Are you telling me you can't watch that movie and not laugh at some of the horrible lines?
I feel kind of
in the
sick,
scene?
and I want to gouge my eyes out with a hot spoon.
You're telling me Arnold's puns don't make you chuckle a little bit?
Well, the villains aren't the problem. It's George Clooney. George Clooney should never have been Batman. George Clooney should never have been an actor, period, in my opinion.
I don't agree with you because George Clooney is real-life Bruce Wayne. But, he is. I'm sorry, he is.
He has boatloads of money as a loner and definitely did not want to have that kid. You're very right.
Yep.
But
pretty much. No,
but he's in a bad way. He's real life Bruce Wayne. He's Bruce Wayne when he is being an ass, but 100% of the time.
You know what? I'll watch Batman and Robin before I'll watch any of those Bale films. Except Batman Begins. I like that one a lot.
That hurts. This is the one thing we'll never agree on is Batman is the thing I feel strongest about.
Anyways, kind of a good segue into our topic today because we're talking about our comic book. Should comic book movies die for now? Not forever, but for now. I think so because
should they? Yes. Probably. Will they?
No.
No.
Oh no, they're gonna.
No.
They're gonna drive it into the ground. But
they kind of already are.
Here's the thing. I used to watch Arrow a lot. I really liked Arrow, and then Arrow started to suck around season 3. They got too into the romantic subplots, and I don't have a problem with romantic subplots and comic stuff because it's always been a part of it.
Right.
But they were. Did you ever watch Arrow?
No, and
okay.
There's a reason.
Okay.
For that, but you say what you want to say first.
They well, there's a character in Arrow named Felicity Smoke, and she's an awesome character, but people, mostly on Tumblr, they wanted Oliver, Green Arrow, and Felicity to pair up together, even though it wasn't really canon, made no sense. But the writers ended up kind of caving to that and kind of forced it, and it's stupid.
CW writers are famous for that.
Yeah, and then they came out, and then I was seeing trailers for The Flash, and The Flash was about to premiere, and I was actually really excited for The Flash because, for those of you who don't know, The Flash is one of my favorite superheroes. He's my second favorite DC hero after Superman.
You okay?
Yeah, I was trying not to burp. Too late. But
gross.
But no, I was really excited to see The Flash. And then I watched it.
Is it Barry Allen or is it?
It's Barry Allen. Wally West is in it now, but Barry the original season was Barry Allen becoming the Flash and everything. And the thing I noticed when I was watching this, I'm like, man, they really made this Flash a fucking idiot.
Yeah, that's from what I've seen.
And it makes me upset because in the show, or not in the show, sorry, in the comics, Wally West is impulsive. He's not necessarily dumb, but he's very impulsive, and he'll react before he'll think, and that's why Barry's typically seen as the better Flash, because Barry is very tactical. And it's because he was already a genius before he was the Flash. He was a forensic scientist. I mean, you have to be smart to be to do investigative work. So I don't understand why they made Barry Allen the complete dunderhead in the CW show.
From what I've seen with with that one in particular is they're trying to do it more when he's like a kid than anything else. Like he's too. From what I've seen, he's still too young to have that career, even if that's what he is supposed to be.
I think he's 26.
That's
which makes a little sense. Somebody starting out as it.
I guess,
that age
but-
seems that age seems right, because around that time, you may have just graduated with a master's degree in criminal science. So it kind of makes
That's
sense.
possible, but
And it makes sense for him to get a job because, the person he was growing up with in the show was the chief of police for that city. So it makes sense.
I don't know. I like what they're doing with the New 52 series with the comics, because you don't have to suffer through the origin story. You know how it happened, and he's already been the Flash for 5 years. He knows how his powers work. It's just going more in depth.
You're talking about New 52 or Rebirth?
New 52.
Okay.
And you don't have to
Yeah.
trudge through the awkward stage of him trying to figure out what's going on
Yeah.
with his powers and whatever. And they're kind of throwing you back into that. And I think origin stories for superheroes is way overdone at this point. Like, we get it. He's really fast, got struck by lightning. Let's go.
They're kind of picking up on that though. At least Marvel is, because there was no origin story with Spider-Man. You didn't see it because everybody knows what it is already.
Right.
Which is why I like that movie. But something I noticed though is, I don't know. I'm on the internet and I follow a lot of nerd pages, and I end up unfollowing them because they all post the same shit.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm seeing trailers for Inhumans, New Mutants, The Runaways, and I'm just looking at this and I have the same thought. Just, I don't care about any of this.
Right. Here's my thing is,
all right, go ahead.
on the movie front, we've been at this for a while with superhero movies. It's been over a decade.
10 years next year.
Yeah, it's been almost a decade, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Marvel is well established in the universe. They're going a little bit more in depth with some of the odds and ends with Doctor Strange and whatever. But Doctor Strange is necessary for where they're headed, universe-wise, because they're headed to Thanos.
Yeah.
We all know. And that's kind of why I keep sticking with the movies. I keep watching them because I'm so excited for Thanos.
Oh, I think the movies are fine. It's the TV shows I have an issue with.
At the same time, I'm kind of getting burned out on superhero movies in general. Because I don't know if I've talked about this. I wasn't terribly impressed with Deadpool. I thought it was neat that they finally, made it into a movie, but it wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be. I still enjoyed it, don't get me wrong. I still really enjoyed it, and I still watch it. But the depiction of Deadpool that we got was not how I see him. And it's more also random XD sort of things.
We got cosplayer Deadpool.
Yeah. And I like Ryan Reynolds. I've never thought Ryan Reynolds' movies were exactly good, but I still enjoyed watching them.
He's like today's Bruce Campbell.
Now, I do appreciate the Deadpool movie because it led the way for Logan being rated R. Logan is the best superhero movie I have ever seen, and I love that movie so much.
I still haven't seen it.
Oh my god, it's so fucking good. It's so good.
I've heard really good
things. But the problem with Logan is there's nothing wrong with Logan, the movie. The problem is nothing is ever going to be able to compare to that movie and be as good in my brain. Did I like Spider-Man Homecoming? Yeah, I loved it. It was great. Did I like Wonder Woman? Yeah, it was amazing.
I still haven't seen
that either. And the soundtrack was it was awesome. Did I like it as much as Logan? No. And now, because of that, I'm always going to be comparing things to Logan, be like, was it as good? No. Did I still like it? Yes, but not as good. And I feel like even with the Marvel movies that are coming out, we all know how into Civil War I was. I was starting flame wars on Facebook because of Civil War.
I know, I was there.
Even that doesn't really compare to Logan. And I'm excited for the new ones, but every time there's something in the back of my brain where it's just like, this is wrong.
It's like superhero movies have already peaked.
Yeah, and I wasn't that impressed with Guardians, and now that things are kind of converging with like the Guardians part of the universe. I don't like it as much because what we're going to see with Ragnarok for Thor is kind of where he's at is where the Guardians universe is, or like that part of the universe.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like it because everyone's already comparing it to Guardians of the Galaxy. And it's just like, let Thor be his own thing. Yes, I understand. He's not actually a god, but is heavily based in Norse mythology. And if you take that away from Thor, I'm not going to like it as much because that's what draws me to him. He's one of my favorite Marvel heroes.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, I understand he has to do the homecoming thing, and he has to like go find himself and like get himself out of trouble and not have to rely on his dad, and what the fuck is Loki doing, and like all this stuff. But I'm already like prepped to not like it, and the Thor movies were like my favorites out of all of the Marvel movies. So I'm a little worried about it. I'll still watch it. I'm definitely still gonna watch it, but I'm a little concerned. Whereas before, whenever a new superhero movie would come out, I would just be like, fuck yeah, let's go see it.
Mm-hmm.
There was no doubt in my mind that it was going to be good, and now there always is. I went into Spider-Man thinking it was going to be atrocious, to be perfectly honest, and that I didn't think I was going to like it at all. And I did. I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
But
Michael Keaton was awesome in that movie. I liked him a lot.
I'm very glad that they went with a different villain.
Yeah, Vulture.
This time.
Yeah.
Vulture is super cool.
I know. He's a very underrated villain.
But I feel like superhero movies are kind of... I'm as like a comic book nerd, I'm getting burnt out on them, which is weird. Like, comic book nerds don't get burnt out on superheroes. That's not a thing that happens. It's...
Yeah.
And the quality of the movies is like... I don't know. I really liked Age of Ultron. I liked the Age of Ultron and Civil War a lot. Yeah. But I feel like as the series like progresses, it's going downhill. I am really excited for Justice League though. It looks really good.
Yeah.
And after the quality of Wonder Woman, I think we're gonna start getting some better DC movies. Like I did like Batman vs Superman, but it wasn't great. We've talked about this before.
Yeah. I thought it was pretty good, but
yeah. And in the way of the TV series, that's a whole nother thing. Oof. That's going downhill, and we barely started. Now, I'm a little bit biased. The way I got into Supernatural was by watching Smallville. My heart belongs to Smallville.
Okay.
Still. Yes, I recognize that they waver from the canon a lot.
It was a good show still.
I thought it was still an amazing show. And now you have all of these other DC shows that are born of Arrow being a thing. Mm-hmm. Because Smallville ran for like 8 seasons, I think.
I think it was 9.
8 or 9. And it ended the way that it was supposed to end. And it was done. And so you have years go by, and then they're like, we're going to do Arrow now. And I was excited and chose not to watch it because it's not even in the same universe, apparently. And everyone's like, oh, all the DC shows that we have now are because of Arrow. Arrow was the first. And I'm like, fuck, no, it wasn't. Smallville was the first. Did we forget that exists? Was I the only one who knows about Smallville and I just had a fever dream?
Yeah,
like, no one wants to acknowledge it.
Smallville was a good show. I really enjoyed it. I didn't watch all of it, but the episodes I watched I thought were really good.
My favorite portrayal of Lex Luthor is in that show.
Yeah, it was great.
He's, like, close enough to, like, Clark to be, like, a legitimately terrifying villain. And he's ever present, but not always an imminent threat. And that's the kind of, like, scary villains that I like. Yeah. Like, the very, like, calm, like, collected. That's more scary. Yeah. And I really liked all the portrayals in the show. I liked how they did Aquaman. I liked how they did all of it. And yeah, the romantic subtext got a little annoying sometimes, but it wasn't so much that it took away from the show, I thought. Mm-hmm. And then you have Arrow come in. And I really should watch Arrow because there's John Barrowman in it and I like him. But from what I've seen, it just doesn't appeal to me.
Watch seasons 1 and 2 and then don't watch anything else if you're going to watch Arrow.
Okay.
That's what I would recommend because seasons 1 and 2 are really good, but after that it didn't go downhill. It fell off a cliff.
Right. And like the thing with you have just there's so many shows out now that are just superheroes, and it's just like
It's oversaturating.
It's oversaturated. They're to the point where they're making spin-off series for shows that don't need spin-off series. You have like DC's Legends of Tomorrow is a thing now, and I'm like, is that even a thing in the comics? I've never even like
It is, but
heard of that.
it is, but much like the show, nobody gives a shit about it.
Right.
I saw one episode of Legends of Tomorrow, and I'm like, I don't want to watch any more of this.
Right.
I thought the same thing when I saw Jessica Jones, honestly. Jessica Jones I found very boring.
Watched Jessica
And
Jones. I don't even know who Jessica Jones is.
And
that's the thing, is they're dragging up characters from the depths that like
okay.
I don't feel like
what they're
are
doing
even
there is
I know they're setting up for Defenders. I know
yeah,
this
that's what they were
because I
doing.
subscribe to a t-shirt thing called Arctify. They're not paying me to say this. Where I signed up at C2E2 because sure it looked cool.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, you get a free thing. And it doesn't cost very much. And I get a random superhero, Marvel-oriented t-shirt in the mail every month. And usually it's geared for whatever new thing is coming out next. So I've got a shirt for Luke Cage. I've got a shirt for Iron Fist. I've got one for Inhumans. I've got one for Defenders. I've got a whole bunch of them, and it's usually whatever TV show happens to be coming out now, since there's so many of them now.
Yeah.
And I've never watched any of them. I wear them because I want to watch them. And, you know, with the Netflix series, like, I heard how good Daredevil was, and I liked Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. a lot, even if, like, nobody else liked Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I liked it a lot.
It wasn't bad. It got better after season 1.
I thought season 1 was good.
It was
You
good.
just
It
had
was
to
a little.
stick with it.
It was a little choppy, but it got
because
better.
they're introducing all of these other characters. I've always
Yeah.
had a very strong attachment to Coulson, so
Yeah.
of course I was going to watch it. They ripped my heart straight out of my chest with the season finale. So, but I don't know. I feel like since I've kind of fallen out of watching TV in general, I've geared more towards video games and comic books now. It's hard for me to get into because, like, I really want to watch the Daredevil series and stuff. I haven't watched it yet because I love Punisher. I think Punisher's cool as shit.
Yeah.
But it's hard for me to get into because I feel like I'm just going to fall into this pit of superhero TV shows. Like, I really wanted to watch Gotham, but from what I've heard and what I've seen, it's not really what I thought it was going to be. Because the premise for Gotham is really cool, and I love Batman more than anything else. So it's kind of like, oh, it's young Commissioner Gordon trying to, like, sift through, like, the evil before Bruce Wayne is Batman, because he's still a kid. Because, like, takes place right after his parents die. But they're trying to incorporate Bruce into it too much, and be like, oh, Bruce is doing his own thing, and, like, you know, precursor to him, like, being a badass before he can be. And I feel like it comes off as kind of lame rather than anything else. I don't like a lot of the villain portrayals, and Jim Gordon is not who I feel like he's supposed to be in that show. And I know they're going a different route with it, but it's kind of like Commissioner Gordon is my favorite part of Batman, and I don't want to watch something that I feel like isn't doing him justice.
I think part of the problem with that is remember what you were saying about how Logan kind of ruined your expectations for superhero movies?
Yeah.
I think Gary Oldman ruined everybody's expectation for Commissioner Gordon because he did such a stellar job in those movies. I crap on the Christopher Nolan movies, Batman movies a lot, but Gary Oldman is not one of the things that I will crap on because he did a really good job in those. But I also think J.K. Simmons is going to do a really good job too.
J.K. Simmons?
He's going to be Commissioner Gordon. He's
in what?
In the current DC cinematic universe.
For Justice League?
Yeah. It's J.K. Simmons.
Oh, I'm going to have a big problem with that. Not because I think he's going to do a bad job, but because every time he is on screen,
Drake,
I'm going
give me pictures of Batman.
I am literally going to be like, bring me pictures of Spider-Man every time. You know I have a headshot of him on my wall, right?
Yes, I do.
Oh my god. I love J. Jonah Jameson. I love J.K. Simmons. I think that there is no other portrayal of J. Jonah Jameson. They are the same person.
There's a reason he wasn't in the Andrew Garfield movies. J. Jonah Jameson wasn't in those movies. At least
he's not in Homecoming.
Yeah,
I
no.
don't think he's gonna be.
No, because you can't replace
No.
J.K. Simmons.
Like, have it be a different universe, yeah, but if you're gonna have that be
Or
a
bring him
character-
back for it.
Friggin'
You know he would reprise
in the
that
animated
role.
series for Spider-Man, he's the voice still.
I know.
And it looks exactly like J.K. Simmons.
I know.
Like, the way that they draw him is he's...
I really think
That's
if they're
who
gonna
it
bring him,
is.
if they're gonna bring him back in the MCU, they should do it because he had a ball doing that. You can tell. It's like,
He's a menace.
but like, no, I see all these shows coming out, and I'm just not interested in comic book shows anymore.
Well,
Because
plus they're all over the place when I go to C2E2.
I know.
Also, and it's just like, I go there for comics and not like, I'm all for, like, the actors going. And here's the thing, like, I have some friends that are really, really into Supergirl.
Mhm.
Okay? And I'm like, okay, I'll give it a shot. So, it was like a week ago, I think. We were eating dinner in our living room, and it was me and my dad. And I think someone had just turned the TV on. It was just on. And they're in the middle of an episode. And I'm sitting there and I'm watching it. And at a certain point, my dad... Like, Dad was watching it too. At a certain point, Dad starts watching me instead. And he's like, looking at the expressions on my face, he's like, are you watching this by choice? Or I'm like, no. And he's like, all right, I'm going to change the channel. And we did, because, like, the portray, it's everything about the show. Like, Nathan, if you're listening, I'm sorry. I don't like it. It's just not good. And, like, and this is all just my opinion.
I never watched it because I wasn't interested.
Like, it just goes back to the Smallville thing. I feel like if it had the same writers and everything, and it was being done to the quality that Smallville was, it would be a much better show. The quality of the show, like the acting and the things that are happening in the show plot-wise, and the effects especially are terrible.
Yeah.
Like, it just doesn't look good. Like, literally, the premise was, evil lady uses kryptonite to make Superman and Supergirl fight each other. And they wake up and can't remember anything. And there's a snappy one-liner from, like, the best friend character, and that's the show, and, like, that's, like... It just came off as, like, the delivery was super lame. I couldn't take it seriously.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm afraid I'm gonna get of any DC show now, and it's kind of disappointing.
Well, unfortunately, that's pretty much what you're getting out of any DC show now. And
I don't think we need to have a television series for every single superhero.
No, we don't.
We got one for Luke Cage.
Which I'm not interested in.
We got one for Luke Cage. We got one for Iron Fist.
Also
we got
not
one
interested.
for Jessica Jones and Daredevil. I think all of their shows separately is fine. If you want to do, like, a spin-off, like, if you want to do, like, a mini, like, movie type thing that they used to do, where they all converge and, like, fight a bad guy, that's fine. Do I think that there should now be a Defenders of New York TV show and, like, cut the, like pull the plug on the other TV shows? No. I don't think we need to have... We already have the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We don't need, like, a Marvel television universe,
Or what they could have done if they wanted to do a TV show was they could have just...
They could have done it the way that they did Heroes.
I'm gonna have pitchforks in front of my doorstep for this. They could have not made any of those shows, including Daredevil. I like Daredevil. They could have just not made any of those and just did Defenders. It worked for Justice League. It can work here.
Justice League could have been handled a little bit differently, but...
I'm talking about the animated show.
Oh, right. Yeah. Yeah, that would have been fine. And honestly, I think if they had done it in a way that, like... Did you ever watch Heroes?
Yeah, I did. I really liked it.
Not a comic book thing, but the way that they introduce the characters. They introduce the characters slowly, and you slowly start to get what their powers are, what their backstory is, what's going on, and they'll flip-flop between characters kind of like Game of Thrones does with its chapters.
Yeah.
Where it'll be Claire, and then it'll be Hero, and then it'll be Micah, or whoever
My favorite
the
episodes
characters are.
were the ones with the cop that could read minds.
Matt Parkman
he was
was
my favorite.
amazing. This is a whole other podcast we could do. I loved Heroes to death. I don't talk about it very much because it's kind of dated now and nobody really talks about it anymore. I loved that show. I have every season on DVD. I could talk about it for hours.
I think they tried rebooting it, but it didn't work.
Heroes Rebirth apparently was pretty good, but it was missing a lot of the cast.
Yeah.
So
because I don't think Hayden Panettiere came back.
No.
For and she was a pivotal.
It also
part
wouldn't
of the
make
show.
sense for her to come back because at the end of Heroes, her character's whole thing is I don't want to do this anymore, and she goes underground with her powers.
Oh, okay.
The whole thing is she just wants a normal life. That's why she gets away from her dad.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I didn't watch it all the way to
I
the
feel
end.
like if they had done the execution where it's like have an episode about Luke, have an episode about Iron Fist, have an episode about Jessica Jones, and so on and so forth, or jump around like they do, not in like an annoying way, in a way that like is fluid and makes sense,
Yeah.
the way that Heroes did, I think that would have worked a lot better, and you can like slowly see the convergence of them and them meeting each other, because that's exactly what happens in Heroes.
Yeah.
Is eventually there's something that's going to happen that causes the heroes to have to align, and they meet each other, and some heroes know each other and some don't. I think that would have worked out a lot better instead of having so many shows that's so overwhelming to get into. I have a print for Daredevil on my wall. I think Daredevil is super cool, and I really want to watch it, but it's such a huge commitment for me now because I know it's just going to lead into, if I want the full story, I have to watch 5 other shows to go with it.
And I don't. Yeah, exactly. And you know what? Comics were having that problem for a while. DC especially. And the reason I like Rebirth so much is because they did away with that. I'm currently picking up Superman. And I'm only picking up Superman right now. So I had to drop most of my comics from my pull list because I took a pay cut at work. But I just recently got promoted and got a raise, so I'll probably get it back again. But I had to switch shifts for my own reasons. But shit. Okay, hold on. Awkward silence. I'm probably gonna put music on during that.
Taco.
Yeah, I'm only picking up Superman right now, but I'm getting the whole story because they're just giving me the whole story within Superman.
Right.
Before,
if your focus is one hero, you can still get the whole story
Yeah.
with that one hero because they'll still make reference to the other, what's going on in the
Yeah.
other ones. And you don't, if you want every perspective, then you can read every perspective. But.
well, this past arc that they're doing, which I think is still going, I'm not entirely sure. I don't think it is. He's fighting Parallax, which is a Green Lantern villain, but I don't have to pick up Green Lantern to understand what's going on in this
Right.
story because all the Green Lanterns aren't here for this. It's just Superman fighting Parallax, and I like that.
And since DC heroes are kind of like fluid, and you can't. Sometimes you'll have Batman fighting Lex Luthor, or vice versa. Superman will fight the Joker sometimes.
Yeah, and that's awesome. I love
And-
that. Give me more of that, please. But
because that's what they do with Injustice.
yeah, but like the New 52, I love the New 52. It's what got me back into comics. But part of the problem I did have there is you did have to pick up 10 different series to understand what was fully going on, and I didn't like that at all.
I remember before Suicide Squad the movie came out, I remember that's when they were starting the New 52 run for Suicide Squad, and I remember I didn't pick it up, my buddy CJ had it, and he's like, hey, I just bought this, do you want to read it? And I'm like, sure. And I read it, and I'm like, I don't know who any of these people are. There's some dude named Reverse Flash. I don't even know anything about Flash, really. Like, at that time, I didn't know very much about him. And I'm like, this isn't even, like, the cast for the movie. And, like, I didn't know very much about him. Like, what's going on? And I'm just like, it was, like, good. Like, the way that the comic was written was enjoyable, but I had no idea what was going on.
Yeah.
Now, with New 52 Flash, that I'm still in the process of reading, Darth Vader is more important. I'm sorry. Like, I don't have to... You can keep staring at me like that. I'm just going to throw my shoe at you.
You're not wearing any.
Exactly.
They're upstairs.
Well, go get them then. Stop it.
For context, when the day I met this person, which was 2.5 years ago, I gave her 3 of my Flash trades, and she still has them because she still has not finished them.
I can buy my own copies and just give them back to
That's
you.
not
if
the
what you
point.
want.
That is not the point.
it's hard for me to find time to sit down and like read them, and it's a lot easier to read a single issue of Darth Vader than it is to sit down and try to get through a whole volume of Flash.
That's fine.
I'm sorry.
That's fine.
That's just how comic books work.
I'm just fucking with you. I'm sorry.
I know. Anyway, refocusing. I don't have to have a lot of context to read Flash because it's Captain Cold. And it's Captain Cold getting the rogues together. And if you know anything about Flash, you know who they are. And even if you don't, they're setting it up in a way where even if you don't know who the rogues are and you can't see Captain Boomerang coming from a mile away, like...
You find out who they are.
You find out who they are. And they create, like, their own, like, plot within them, like the whole thing with the clones in the first arc. And you don't even need context. And you just have, you know, Captain Cold being ominous and threatening annoying reporter lady.
Yeah.
And causing blackouts for no apparent reason.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you know who this guy is. He makes it known who he is.
Yeah.
Even if Flash hasn't run into him yet. And I don't have to go through decades of Flash lore to understand, and I don't have to go read the Green Lantern 52 comics in order to understand what's going on, or Superman or Batman, because it's all taking place in Metro.
Yeah. Though the Green Lantern 52 comics, until Jeff Johns stepped down, was the same way. After Jeff Johns left, it was like, oh, we're going to make it so you have to buy 6 different fucking books, and it was stupid. And that's part of the...
I'm all for, like, them kind of converging and, like, having them be, like, you know, going to the same places and fighting for the same cause and stuff, but I feel like it should be done in a way where if I only care about Flash, I only have to read Flash to understand everything.
Yeah. Something else I don't like that I'm glad they're kind of shying away from is I really hate, like, the 6+ issue story arc, because I don't want to have to wait 6 months to find out what happens at the end of a story. Like, I don't know.
Sometimes you can't get it all out that fast, though. Sometimes I would rather they develop the story more and portray it in the way that, like, I don't want them to pull an Activision for my gamer nerds that are out there. I don't want them to have to rush to get it out and be at less than what we would be happy with. Then I'll wait the 6 months to get to the end of the arc.
But Superman's doing it just fine, though. It's like
Superman's also a different team, though.
I don't know. I'm just saying
it's a different story.
Yeah, but it's just like something else. I'm kind of like I think the even bigger problem I had though was that they're also kind of shying away from. There were so many events in the comics. Like I don't know how.
Just like fight scenes or
no, like you know the metal event going on right now.
Oh yeah,
stuff like that.
Metal.
There were and like the metal event is fine because it's the only one, and it's the first event in Rebirth.
It's just like a one-off thing but there's one per hero, right?
Yeah, but
I know there's one for Batman and one for Supes.
Yeah, but like Rebirth happened a while ago, and right now the only events I know of are Metal, and there's a Watchmen one happening.
Okay, explain what Metal is for the people listening that don't know what you're talking about.
I can't because I haven't read it.
Oh, good.
I'm not interested in it, so I haven't read it.
The way I understand it, it's kind of like a one-off thing within the series where they go kind of dark, and not in like Superman's gonna go from lawful good to evil,
chaotic evil,
whatever. It's just something bad's happening, and they're having a real bad time, and it kind of comes out, and it is metal because that is the theming of it.
Yeah.
And it is a little bit darker and whatever.
Yeah.
And Batman's already dark, so I don't know how they're gonna get much darker, but which is refreshing for someone like me that it's attracted to that sort of thing. But it's not its own series. It could very well be if it gets popular enough, but right now it's just this is a one-off, one-time thing that may or may not have something to do with the rest of the series.
Yeah.
And you can read it or not.
No, I I I'll probably read it. I just can't really afford to pick it up because I'm just saving more money than I'm spending right now. But
I spent way too much money on comics today. Oh god.
but no, I don't know. Back on topic though. I think superhero stuff needs. I think it just at least the TV shows I think need to die because
the movies aren't too bad. The movies are kind of iffy sometimes.
Yeah, but like the TV shows though, none of them are interesting, and it's like I just have no interest in any of them unless they're animated, and it's
Young Justice is fucking good.
Yeah, well that's why I made the distinction unless they're animated. But something I noticed though was I really want to see it.
What?
The Stephen
Where did that come from?
Well, here's the thing. I really want to see it, and there's all this superhero property coming out at the same time. Would I'm more excited to see it than I am to see superhero TV shows or movies and stuff? There's a problem.
Yeah, because you're comic book nerd TM.
Yeah, and I'm not really a horror movie person. I just think it looks really interesting.
I mean, I have no interest in it, and I am a horror movie person, but
I just think it looks cool. I was also watching.
I'm also tired of all the propaganda for it on my feed constantly.
I was also watching parts of the Tim Curry one. I just could not stop fucking laughing. I don't know how
Tim Curry is a gift to mankind.
I don't know how anybody finds that movie. No. Here's the thing. I don't know how anybody finds that movie scary because it's just so goddamn funny. Tim Curry is amazing in that movie.
I never saw
in all
the
the
original,
wrong ways,
but like I have somewhat of like actual like fear of clowns. Like they freak me out. Like the Joker is fine. He's a supervillain, but like they actually kind of freak me out, and I'm not gonna go out of my way to seek that out. I've seen pretty much every other Stephen King movie.
Yeah.
I won't watch it. So I have no interest in it. I recognize it's probably very good. I love Tim Curry, but I have no interest in watching either of them.
I mean, the Tim Curry one's 3 hours long, so and it's really not that good. But
3 hours long?
It was a miniseries. It wasn't a movie.
Good God.
It was 2 hour-and-a-half episodes. But
That's what they did with Storm of the Century, though.
Yeah,
that was a weird movie.
I was also really excited to see The Dark Tower. I heard it got bad reviews, but
I want to read the books first because I could never really get through Stephen King's books. I have an appreciation for the stories that he creates, but I'm more interested in his dark fantasy stuff because that's more what I'm geared towards anyways, is fantasy stuff.
Yeah, but like to wrap it up though, like when I'm more excited to see a horror movie than I am to see superhero stuff, there's a problem with the superhero stuff. At least I think so.
Justice League looks up the blah blah blah. That was
Justice
not
League.
A sentence.
Justice League looks awesome.
Justice League looks hype though. Is what I was trying to say.
When I was with my girlfriend a couple months ago, and because we were going around a mall trying to find a dress for a wedding we were going to, she and her sister were kind of like looking for accessories and stuff, and I'm just kind of sitting in the corner hitting repeat on this Justice League trailer the entire time because I was so enamored in it.
That's
so
what I've been doing with the Red Dead trailer.
I think if there's hope, if there's hope, there's Justice League, and with that, I think we should wrap this up.
Yeah.
So comic book movies are still okay, but comic book TV shows should probably die because they're so goddamn oversaturated. Have a wonderful day.